All right, we are live, and just as I was sending us live, it looks like Lisa is online.
Hi,
Hello.
I am mid-project, so
Yeah, I said mute. Why did it not mute? There. All
that
right.
did not work.
What?
That did not work.
Yeah,
I was trying to use something to hold my phone up, and it did not work.
I was trying to mute the show, and that did not work. So, I mean, we're batting 1,000 so far.
Great.
Meanwhile, though,
Karen should be coming shortly.
and hey, anybody watching, Happy New Year!
Oh yes, Happy New Year.
I'm saying it to anybody watching, not to Lisa, who I can't currently see. Not sure what happened to your video.
I turned it off because I'm moving things.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Just checking. Anyway, I said that because I've already said that to Lisa, but
My
just,
phone is
you know,
now covered in glitter.
specifying so anybody watching doesn't think I'm just ignoring you and only wishing them a Happy New Year. Well,
there you go. All right. Sorry, glitter covered.
I have 2 projects tonight, personally. It's just finishing up 2 projects, really. One is the bag for the lovely, awesome dice that Lisa gave me, which is the most thorough and complete dice set I've ever seen. This one's the D100. I'm showing everybody else because obviously Lisa has seen these. This one is the D24. This is the regular D20. This one's a D5. The amount of dice in this set that I'm like, that shouldn't exist, and yet they do. A D7. It's a D7.
I heard about the unusual dice set.
I was telling her.
I'm showing them because I am, for my project tonight, finishing up my dice bag that I'm making to go with them.
Oh, cute.
So I'm getting the drawstrings tied into place and or stitching this down so that the drawstrings are threaded through into place, something like that. Anyway, I'm doing that, and then I am tucking in all the ends, and then I will be done with that. And then I'm also tucking in the ends of, and theoretically putting tassels on, but honestly that probably won't happen until after we're done on this scarf wow, it's so much easier to read that it says Hawkeye on the screen than in real life.
I know.
Hawkeye very nicely.
And with my little Hawkeye design on the other side that Karen's not looking at. And Lisa's already seen.
Yeah, I only hang out with you every work day and then more. And so, you know.
Well,
you too.
What are you two working on? And Karen, as I have not seen you to say this, Happy New Year. While we were waiting for you, I was going, and anybody watching, Happy New Year. And lest you think I'm just ignoring Lisa, it's only because I've already said it to her. But you, I had not said it to you.
I am making this as a belated Christmas present. It's a brick stitch pattern of a stitch. It's a belated, I haven't started, I did start it, but then decided that I started doing like this crystalline outline around the edge and decided I don't want to do that until I'm actually done the rest of it. So I'm gonna restart it since I barely started.
Stitching stitch.
I'm stitching stitch.
I'm done currently with the messy part.
What?
I'm currently done with my messy part.
Well,
I'll have
what
more
fun is
messy
that?
later. It's glitter.
It's not fun being done with the messy part. The messy part's the fun part.
Oh, there's more mess later. I promise. I need
Did I
more
show you
purple.
guys my resin jar that I can't open?
Yeah.
I couldn't remember if I had shown you that or not.
No, you haven't shown me it, but go ahead.
I need to buy more because so I can make stuff for my shop.
I was making resin jars and I had to make one as a test jar because I couldn't tell from the mold, like
How well they go together.
with the other part I could tell what was up and what was down with the bottom part, but with this part I couldn't tell exactly how it would fit together, and I need to make sure anything I put into it would be actually on the top. So I made this nice just test jar, nice and glittery, and it screwed into place so nicely and apparently wasn't actually fully cured, and I should not have just left it in place.
Oh no.
And now it's stuck together.
Take it to work and see if somebody can unscrew it or break it.
Take a seam ripper and try and rip the seam open.
I would so break the seam ripper on this. I should bring it just so you can see it in person.
I have an X-Acto knife. I can have Lisa bring you an X-Acto knife.
Here, you take this and go
And,
ahead.
like, shove it in there and chip away at it.
I mean, I have
Oh no, I'm frozen.
a whole lot of X-Acto knives. You weren't
Alright.
frozen until right after you said, "Oh no,
Must
I'm
be
frozen."
really
From my
bad. I'm gonna switch
perspective,
over to data real quick.
So what I'm working on is my heart earrings. Because I have my Star 4th of July ones and I have my fall leaf ones. So I've got basically I just take the foam stickers and I kind of glitter the opposite side of them, which is what I've been doing for the past hour.
My back. Okay.
And then I also, and besides just having, I have big ones and I have little ones. And I am also, I've got them so that each one has each color. Like I got blue and pink and red and pink and purple and pink because those are the 4 colors I have. So I'm going to have a pair of each by the time I'm done. But I need to go to Hobby Lobby so I can make more than just one pair of each.
I mean, I
Hobby
guess.
Lobby trip in a while, probably because I've been broke. But
We should go Saturday morning.
ooh, that'd be nice. I don't think I'll be broke Saturday.
I won't be broke Saturday.
Well, we read chapters 11 and 12,
Yep.
right? Right? We did,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Wait, was it 11 and 12?
Yes. Because 12 was Camp Lori. It was 50 pages.
Yeah,
Wait.
Camp Lori was
You
long. I kept going like, oh, I'm almost done reading. And then I'm like, oh, there are like 12 billion more pages. Okay.
Are you sure it wasn't 9 and 10?
We have already discussed 9 and 10.
Okay, now I'm really confused and I'm looking for my phone, which is right in front of my face.
When we discussed 9 and 10, you and I hadn't quite finished reading chapter 10.
I hadn't quite finished reading chapter 10. None of us.
No, Karen, when we talked about it, I thought that was the one that you were the only one who had
That was the
finished
only one
reading.
you had read all the way through.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was? Oh. Okay, I'm shocked. I don't remember that.
You're like, I'm just assuming I didn't.
I'm just assuming I didn't.
Experiments was another lovely chapter of, it's my job to have some sort of didactic an obvious lesson in this because it's for children.
I liked it though. It was a cute chapter.
It was.
And honestly, it's a lesson that's very important to learn. Like I know you lesson book, but yeah, it's something that a lot of people forget. And then they didn't point the fact that I noticed, but like if you're all play and no work, you get very bored. Like
So here's the thing,
very
though.
bored.
As someone who's been
A lot
unemployed
of-
several times,
A lot of the play, I agree with that. It's just that a lot of the play that they were doing are things that I would consider productive, not like just wasting time. Their all play and no work was like reading and sewing dresses for their dolls and learning piano music. It's not like they were like lounging around doing nothing. That gets boring really fast. It just amused me. Like what's considered all play and no work then versus now.
Right?
That was my only real thing with it. Like I mean, I guess if you want to just lounge around reading, but like
I would.
oh my gosh, I would. I mean, there's also that point of like they live in a difficult time, but despite feeling their comparative poverty to how their lives used to be, they are very, very privileged. And very privileged in so many ways.
For reading, man.
What?
Joe's got a tree spot for reading.
Right? I would love a tree spot.
So much.
Does this look bad, guys? I didn't have a color match glitter for the pink. I know you don't like pink, but
well, I
didn't
still know how to.
So like I got this like pale glitter, but this is the actual pink. I think it looks good having the different colors. Like everything else, I was able to color match.
What's it for?
These are my earrings.
Okay. Are you? Because when you turned it, it looked like the backside matched.
Well, yeah, because there's.
Yeah,
it doesn't look bad having the front and the back have different amounts of glitter.
But
Yeah,
so it's
okay.
pink,
So ultimately they still match.
Purple.
Yes, but the glitter I put on the back is not the same shade as the front.
It looks slightly purple.
That's as far as I can tell through the camera, which of course is hard.
It's
it looks fine.
Pink.
I think it looks
pink.
I think it looks good. From the perspective of it doesn't look like you're trying to make things match that don't match. It just looks like the front is different than the back.
Yeah, it doesn't look bad at all.
Yeah, because like see on this one I was able to color match.
I mean, no, I don't think that looks bad at all. I think it's fine.
Good, because I did them all already, and that would be bad. No, it doesn't work.
No, you did it all.
Take it off. Do it again.
I can't. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I'm there with you. It's trying to find a delicate and not oversharing way to say this. I mean, you two know, but as far as hi internet. There have definitely been points of my life that are way burnt out by a lot of different things, that I've been way burned out by a lot of different things, whereas those girls are not. I mean, even when they're tired from the work, and I don't think taking a week to recover from that is a horrible idea, I'm surprised that they got bored with it as much as they did so early. But the work that they've been doing was comparatively easy work, even if they didn't love doing it. And they definitely were not burnt out. Just appreciating having a break. Which, among other things, is a good way to avoid getting burnt out. But when you are at a point of like full on burnout, or even like weary and needing to avoid a full on burnout, a week of not doing anything or of doing very little is sometimes not long enough for recovering from that. Especially if
Also in June, by the way. In the month
What?
that they're doing it, it's the beginning of June, so it's like the longer summer days.
Yeah, well, and it is, yes, it's definitely longer days. I mean, it's the beginning of summer vacation. And thanks to my children, the theme song to Phineas and Ferb just sprang to mind as soon as I said that.
I won't pretend that I'm singing it in my head. Nope, 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 nope.
You mean you'll pretend you
Nope.
aren't? Because
Yeah, that, yeah.
I was like, I don't think you have to pretend that you are.
No,
But anyway, to me, not doing anything doesn't go to that extreme. And that extreme that she brought them to, especially at the end of the week, was definitely significant. If I had somebody else doing my housework for me and I had a couple weeks off from it, like, that would be kind of a time of rest and recuperation and healing for me. Whereas if I had a couple weeks of doing nothing, but also nothing was getting done, that just adds more stress. So I agree with the lesson. It's just, once more, I do think that there's a point of balance in it. And I think that today, when we talk about something like that, we kind of assume, or a lot of people I know do, at least, that like needing that time to take care of yourself also is built into that, but you can't just let everything go. Whereas I think that at that time, there was, from things that I've seen and read, at least, there was more of a push of like, you should always be wanting to work and doing things, or you become a terrible person.
oh man, I dropped it.
So that's where, in reading it, I'm drawing from a lot of other things of the era that I've read, and so I'm probably not reading it as purely as how it's written, just because I'm assuming that they're referencing it in that direction. But the lesson itself, I don't think is wrong, not at all. Karen, what were you starting to say?
So in the book, at the end of the 9th chapter, the 11th chapter, she's like, Hannah and I picked up the slack. If they picked up the slack, why did the bird die?
They picked up what?
They did the chores. They made it so that they could have literally nothing to do.
Oh,
yeah.
I did wonder. I feel like probably the bird's death was unrelated, and Beth just assumed that it was her fault, because she would definitely blame herself for everything anyway.
That's what I was thinking too. That one's not dry enough. All right.
Or maybe they were taking care of their household chores, but they didn't even think of something like that, because
it was
something that Beth so always did that they didn't even think about it.
Side question. all of mine are just 2 colors.
Mm-hmm.
Should I mix all 4 anyway, or should I keep it to the 2 colors in the earring?
In what regard?
To glitter the back of these ones.
There are 2 colors. She wants to know if she should mix all 4 or just the 2 colors that the earrings are.
A slightly marbly mix could look good, but in my experience, mixing that too thoroughly just makes it look
No, I
not
would
like
do a
any color.
marble look. Definitely
Okay.
marble.
Okay. Just making sure I'm understanding what you're saying fully.
I would stick to the 2
I
that's on the earring and not all 4.
I think it'll look good either way. 2 or 4. I know that's super helpful. But you know me, I love glitter. I think it'll be pretty and sparkly regardless.
Do one of both.
Excuse me, yes.
You know me, I love sparkles.
Yes.
They're just so time consuming.
I did notice we really didn't even like recap either of these chapters. I just kind of dove right in.
Yep.
But in the beginning of the second chapter that we read, when Jo is reading the letter from Marmee, talking about how she has been doing such a good job keeping her temper under control and it hasn't gone unnoticed.
Aww.
And I love that care to observe it, and like there are so many ways that can be done wrong. There are so many ways that people, in trying to turn something into a joke or something, they kind of inadvertently punish the behavior that they want to see. There are so many ways that that things like that go unnoticed entirely, but when they are, can kind of be embarrassing in how they're noticed. And the way that she did it, and the way that she wrote it, and the way that she reminded her of her own struggles that she had told her about, all worked so well, I think. But I also, it was the first time I realized when Jo said that she was going to continue facing off against her own Apollyon, or whatever it was. Something that they basically referenced her difficulty with her anger as being her Apollyon. I thought until that moment that Amy was her Apollyon, in that when they say Jo faces her Apollyon, or whatever that chapter's called, Jo meets her Apollyon, that it was Amy being so cruel. I thought that was her Apollyon. It did not occur to me that her temper was her Apollyon. And until I read those words, and I went, oh, and it's sort of more in my mind right now, because I'm working on starting a Bible study at church based on Pilgrim's Progress, playing it as a tabletop RPG game. And so I've been reading through Pilgrim's Progress, figuring out what I'm doing with a bunch of the different elements of it. So all these different things in Pilgrim's Progress are more in my brain. But Apollyon is, I mean, it's an allegory, so everything is all representative of other things. But Apollyon is basically a huge demon causing a fight. And I thought that it was Amy causing the fight. I didn't realize it was her anger, is, the way that we talk about our personal demons. which makes a lot more sense when I think about it that way, because like the whole point was that she shouldn't be fighting her sister. But until I read those words, it just didn't occur to me. So that was my big revelation.
Nice.
I was more shocked at the months that had gone by. Like, I knew that we were like in January, February when
We
when
were
read
in March
7 and
last.
8, and we were in March for 9, and then all of a sudden we're in June.
In March with the marches.
All of a
That's how I
sudden
say
we're
it.
to June and July, and I'm like, oh, this is a fast going year.
Yeah. Well, the book takes place over more than 1 year, so there definitely have to be big time jumps. Sparkly.
I was trying to see if I could see the color change in the camera better.
Carrie Fisher would be proud. I I love Joe's continued determinants to just be one of the guys.
Yep.
It just makes me happy.
I love Jo. She's my favorite character.
I love all of them in their ways, but especially Joe and Beth.
That's my favorite.
And Amy's constant malapropisms and misspeaking in general. Because I don't love Amy, I just love all of the wrong words she uses.
We learned that
Because I'm
she's going to work
terrible.
harder on it from now on.
What?
At the end of the week of laziness, she's like, oh, I'm going to work harder at my misspeech. So we've learned just to work harder not to misspeak anymore.
I mean, at least she's aware of it. I think it's in the second chapter. No, maybe it is in the first chapter that we read. That they actually refer to her as Miss Malaprop at one point. And I laughed so hard. I was like, wait, who's that? And why is oh no, they're using that as a nickname for Amy because she uses malapropisms all the time. I love it. What'd you think of the new friends and they went to Camp Lawrence? New
All I could think of was the
acquaintances at any
twins.
rate. I'm not sure friends is the right word for all of them.
All I
Ooh,
could think of the friends. I kept calling them Fred and George instead of Fred and Frank in my head.
that came out pretty.
Wait, was that not their names? Ooh, wow.
Ooh, that is pretty. The two
It's
colors
like,
are nice. I like that.
It's like Sapphire and hold on, I just blanked on the name of the other one that I'm trying to say.
Rose gold.
Nope. Tourmaline, I think is what I was thinking of.
Ooh,
I would think orange when I think tourmaline.
Um,
I don't know why.
Opal
Probably 'cause I'm
and
black. Like,
basically what I was really thinking is it's like Sapphire and whatever that birthstone is that's on all of the October birthday stuff that my brother gets frustrated with because, you know,
this one.
he doesn't like having a pink birthstone.
I'm
Lisa.
back. Yes, this one.
Yes, that one. But
It's 7:30, in case everybody was wondering. Okay.
tourmaline comes in a lot of different shades, but I just see it often represented as pink specifically for birthstones, which is, of course, your birthstone. So sure, you already know that. Anyway, I didn't.
Did you say that is my birthstone?
October.
Yeah, no.
My birthstone's August.
August.
Right.
Whoops, I
No,
forgot.
I was mixing. I was mixing birthstone and Karen's anniversary.
Oh
Yes.
yeah. Her anniversary is in October.
Yep,
Yes.
that is correct.
Anyway, don't mind me. So British people thoughts. No, other than wanting to call them Fred and George, which were probably actually their names. I mean,
Right. Has to be.
isn't that the law? Male twins in England are required to be named Fred and George.
Yes, it is.
I'm pretty sure that's a long-standing law, not a recent one. So,
Right.
anyway,
This was written before Harry Potter.
yeah, that's why I specified that it's a long-standing law, not a recent one. That's why they're named that in Harry Potter, not the other way around.
Right.
And you know how I know that? I don't even like Harry Potter. Suddenly, the one person who was starting to actually watch our live stream decided to turn and run because I said that.
You don't like Harry Potter? How dare you? Bye.
I am terrible, I know. But neither of you have actually answered the question.
What? Oh, sorry. I kind of liked the storytelling part. I liked that part.
That was interesting. Oh, I had also wanted to tell you the author's game that they mentioned to like 12 billion times and never described.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
They didn't describe it because it was actually a fairly popular game at the time, so people would just know what they were referencing.
It was redundant.
Be like, you know, if somebody in a book that we're writing today referenced Twister, and we're like, that's a game where, like, why are you describing this? We all know what it is. But the only reason that I know that is because I just heard it talked about on a podcast that I was listening to last week. But I can't actually remember what it was. I just know that they were actually talking about a couple of the famous authors of the day who created the game, and I think they were talking about Louisa May Alcott and Emily Dickinson as being both. I mean, Emily Dickinson was a recluse for quite a long time, but they both were at least acquainted with people who were involved in creating that game or ran in these circles of where that game started and possibly were involved in inventing it in the first place. So, yeah. I was going to say more, but I don't think I actually had more to say on that subject. The older girl there.
Kate.
Yep. Kind of snob.
Yeah.
I say kind of, but like.
I got
super.
lost. Who's Ned again? Like, Ned came up and I was like, who's Ned?
What?
Ned was the prankster.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's one of those things that kind of the whole thing with Ned kind of stood out to me. That thing where, like, you know, even if you don't really believe something that you hear, but like you can't unhear it, and you kind of can't stop associating somebody with it anyway. I feel like Meg kind of hit that point with Ned. I am curious if you have any other observations about any of the interactions with people in that chapter.
Well, I know that because I think it was Frank, was cheating at croquet and it upset Joe. She almost lost her temper. And Meg was like, I saw that you held your temper. I'm so proud of you. She was like, I'll still box his ears.
A few
Oh.
different scenarios I've been in my life might have come back to mind at that moment.
Like, don't be fooled. Don't be fooled.
The thing is, I won't. I'm not known for my temper because I won't actually lash out very often. And if I do, then I've already been pushed way beyond where anybody else would have already stopped them, more than likely. But internally, I definitely know that feeling. At least he like actually told the truth when they were playing truth instead of continuing to lie to them.
Right? A gentleman.
Ish.
Ish.
I mean, he still cheated. I'm not sure how gentlemanly he is.
But at least he was honest.
Eventually.
Eventually.
When under semi-self-imposed rules of having to be. Laurie's tutor was helping Meg with German. Kind of funny to me that they're so big on learning German at that point, because it was definitely French for a while and off and on at different points. And then German has been also off and on at different points, but give it half a century or so from there, and it's going to be nobody learned German.
Right.
Oh, I need more purple.
Why are you filling that knot? No, not there. We go.
I waste so much glitter just trying to do these things.
There were a few particularly flirty people in that were pointed out as being flirty, but there were some other points of flirtation that were not pointed out as being expressly flirtatious. Did anybody take notice of any of those? I'm wondering.
I could tell when it was that Susie got jealous. Kate got jealous.
Which is kind of hilarious because like she looks down on them for being a governess or a tutor, but she still wants the tutor to want to flirt with her, not the governess.
Because she's the noble lady. That's why.
Sure she is. I mean, what? Yeah, I did think that was funny. There are a couple of things that I think, I mean, the first time I read the book, I had already seen the movie. And if I hadn't, I don't know if I would have picked up on some of them. And even then, I'm not sure I picked up on some of them then as the last time I read the book, which was over a decade ago. A few things that I picked up on this time. So I'm trying to find out your thoughts on things without revealing anything of future elements. Blue.
Oh, that's pretty. I like that.
Oh. As I splash more glitter onto my phone.
Hey, glitter is the sparkle of life. Put it everywhere. Everybody's like, glitter is crafting herpes. It gets on everything. And I'm like, glitter is happy. Spread the happy. Herpes, not happy. Glitter, happy.
I saw a TikTok of a girl designing a costume for her birthday, and she put glitter on her armpits, and all I could think of is that's gonna take forever to wash.
Okay.
Right.
As far as the sparkle, I would have no problems with that. But the idea of the texture of that, ugh.
Okay, let's see. Can I wiggle this way? Here we go. And
Karen, you're frozen again.
She
am
is.
I?
Your words are still happening, just your motions aren't, and you're sitting there going, if I wiggle this way, and I see you just sitting perfectly still, not wiggling a single thing.
Uh,
The
that's
ending
funny.
is, the last sentence of the chapter is pleasantly surprising, I think.
But
Oh,
it
just
confused me because they're
What?
talking about one thing, and then the last paragraph is a couple of sentences of as they left. Like, I'm very confused. When did they decide to leave?
But I like that she's not even being condescending or patronizing. She's just like, oh, Americans aren't so bad. And he's just like, yeah, I agree. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, talking to them, she was being bratty and condescending. And when not around them, she was actually pleasant about them, which is so backwards from so many people. But, like, kind of seems to make sense for her character. But at least in truth, she seemed to not despise them or anything. Oh, I also especially love when Lori tells Joe not to preach at him because she can't do it anyway. If this weren't a cinch bag, it would make an excellent old lady mob cap. Something for somebody to wear in like arsenic and old lace or something.
Arsenic?
Have you not seen arsenic and old lace?
Nope.
All I
Well,
can think is poisonous.
that's a thing we're gonna have to watch.
Add it to the list.
See,
So,
on the one hand, it's a very nice cinch bag, but on the other hand, okay, dearie. All right, all the dice to the inside, all 15 dice. I say it's a very nice cinch bag, but now I'm not actually sure if I can cinch it.
oh goodness.
Well, I'll have that answer.
Yes, no, maybe so. Nope.
I broke the leather cord.
Need something a little stronger.
I think I'm going to have to change the closure entirely
Oh no.
because I think that it's not about stronger per se. I think that it's too much friction.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I'm spraying all of these off camera.
Again,
Well-
remember why I don't brick stitch very much.
I will get something woven through to cinch it like this instead of up here. But don't the colors work so nicely together?
They do.
honestly more in person than how it looks on the camera there. All right, more ends to tuck in.
Oh, whoops. Only 4 more.
So, I think we about exhausted everything from that, but I'm curious, as we are at the beginning of a new year, besides what we've been reading in book club, is there anything else that either of you have read this year, or just a favorite book that you've read in the past that you would want to recommend?
So I love romance stories, like big romance stories. I have several books that I would reread 100 times. Probably Montana Sky, I think by Nora Roberts. It's about 3 half sisters inheriting their father's ranch. So I really like the story about how they all come from different backgrounds and everything, and they all come together and have to deal with learning how to run a farm, a ranch. But also the Marcelli series, which is 4 different books. There are 4 books about these 4 sisters.
I thought it
They
was
come,
3.
huh?
That was 3.
No, because one's 10 years younger than the
Right.
other 3.
That's right.
Yeah. That's why her story doesn't intertwine as well as with the others, because she's younger. Hers is kind of like after theirs. And you can read them out of order because they only have like little bits of each other, but you can also read them in order. But yeah, that's about 4 sisters that are inheriting a winery from their parents, or they help run the winery with their parents.
You
really
say you like romance books, but it sounds like you like inheritance books.
well, so like
I'm just teasing.
I'm not really getting into the romance part of them, but like in the last one, she was a spy undercover, and she falls in love with her Mark, and it comes back to bite her in the butt.
Spy Kids.
Not quite, no.
I mean the prequel to it or something.
But yeah.
How
So,
Antonio Banderas and what's her face got together.
so those are books I would recommend if anybody likes romance and mystery and
Cool. Karen, you have anything you'd recommend?
Yeah. It's a series that I started reading when I was in middle school. I love the author. The author is Tamara Pierce, and the first series that she wrote was the Lioness Quartet.
I love that series.
So there's multiple series that go off one another, but the first 4-book series is about a girl called Alana and how she kind of pretends to be a boy, her twin brother, in fact, so that she can become a knight, because that is her dream. But her brother, who their father's trying to force to be a knight, would rather be a priest. So with the help of their family workers, she becomes a knight and her brother becomes a priest, and it's about how she does this and all her adventures. And then there's a spin-off series about a girl who dreams about being a knight because of her and the trials she goes through. Alana's daughter is only a 2-book series, and there's another 4-book series about a mage that's also attached in there somewhere. But they're really good series. Yeah, I love them.
I know that like if you read the Lioness Quartet, it really doesn't make sense, but I would have loved if she'd have done a book on her brother's story, like him going
her brother
through the
Tom.
trials.
Yeah. I would have loved to see her do a book, or at least some background into her brother becoming a mage.
Yes, I would have loved that.
I swear I thought you were going to say maid for a second there.
A priest, a mage, one of the two. I would have loved to see more of that because you don't get to see much of her brother Tom, and you don't get to see much of his magic. And he ends up being a very powerful magician, like one of the most powerful. But you don't see that because he's barely in the series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For reasons I will not disclose because it's a spoiler.
No
That's a huge
spoilers.
spoiler. It's a huge spoiler.
So I have in like August, September, and October, somebody kept the consultant that I get my Janberries from, Janberries, Color Streets. I swear I keep doing that.
Like Gemberries sound good. What are those?
Janberry hasn't existed for like 5 years now. So anyway, she kept putting up things asking about what, take a picture of the book that you're reading right now. And I wasn't really getting done with any of them. I just kept adding more to my list of books that I'm reading because I don't really read one book through and then start another one. I read whichever one I'm in the mood for at the time, and after a few years I probably will finish one of them unless I actually stay in the mood for something long enough to get all the way through it. So this year I have gone back to and gotten much further in Wicked, which I had started a couple years ago. My sister despises, we both love the soundtrack to the musical, but she despises the book. But she couldn't bring herself to finish it. And I was like, I want to like read more of this so I know more of the storyline outside of what's in the
Musical.
well, in the songs, because I don't know even the full plot line of the musical outside of the songs. And I was really struggling with it. And eventually, and I think it had been sitting there for over a year that I hadn't touched it. And I picked it back up and I was like, I guess I can, keep going with this for a while. I was at a point where I was kind of in the mood too. And I've gone back to it more frequently since then, because after you get through part 1, the rest of it's actually a good book. Part 1 is like, it's a lot of backstory that I can sum up in fewer words than the first song of the musical, and you will have everything you need to know for the rest of the book. And it's just that first part is weird and harder to get through than the rest of it, in my experience. So once I got past part 1 of Wicked, I have been really enjoying reading that again. I'm really enjoying continuing reading that, rather. Anyway, I also really love, and I've waxed eloquent about this at Lisa far too many times at this point, but I have been reading a new translation of Beowulf. In fact, it's called Beowulf, A New Translation, by Maria, I want to say Devaney, but I cannot swear that I'm pronouncing her last name right. It has a D, an H, and a V somewhere in there, and ends in a Y. And she is not a historian or a translator. She is an author who learned how to translate it for the sake of trying to translate it in a more authorial way, translating the more, almost interpreting the intent and how it would have been taken by people by that culture at that time into how it could be taken by our culture in our time. So there's this one word that is translated. It's the very first word in, Lisa's laughing because she knows exactly what I'm about to say. It's the very first word in the poem, and it occurs several times throughout. And it is often translated as hark, or as just well, because it's a colloquial expression. It doesn't have an exact translation, but it's basically a word that somebody was using to get somebody's attention, but they want to make it sound all fancy and literary. So they're like, hark, listen to my words. And she's like, dude, this was a story being told in beer halls. Like, they're in mead halls, and somebody's like, dude. So she literally translates it as bro every time. And so she's like, bro, tell me we still know how to talk about kings. And then she has different parts where she's like, one of my favorite parts so far is when Beowulf and his company are coming up on a Danish guard when they first land, trying to go to help fight Grendel, and he's going on, who's there, and are you friend or foe? And toward the end he says, basically, tell me or bounce. And there's one part that actually says #blessed. Like, all these different things, that it just makes it so much more, I don't want to say necessarily more accessible, because it's still Beowulf. It's still trying to find modern English ways of making an old English poem make sense. And you can't translate all of the meter and rhyme and have that still work, and also have it still convey the same concepts and everything else. But for being a fairly heady poem, given that it's really just a poem about battles and fighting in glory, and I don't know, might as well be Klingon at that point. But given that it's all that, it is far more accessible, and it makes it a lot easier to understand the concepts of like how people hearing it back when it was written, or when it was probably, depending on who you ask, but scholars pretty much assume probably sung well before it was written down, and the various ways the bards would sing it, and the way that the people hearing it would have heard it at the time, as somebody like, hey, tell me, bro, do we even know how to talk about kings anymore? They used to be all these things, and now they're not, rather than like, hark, let me speak of the kings of the past, which is so not how somebody in a bar is going to be talking.
No.
Anyway, so I've really been enjoying that. And a good many others. And if anybody wants a full list of my current reading list at any given time, just let me know. But there's usually somewhere between 15 and 25 books on it at any given time of what I am currently actively reading. Which is why it takes me years to get through any of them.
It's like me in TV series.
I'm currently
Whereas a TV
I'm
series,
currently
I'll
reading-
binge beginning to end. Started binging Sue Thomas last Tuesday. Finished the series last night. I mean, it's only 3 seasons, and I was out sick for 3 days last week, so. Anyway, that is the end of our time. Anything either of you want to say, or any progress you want to show?
I've pretty much just got a glitter mess here. I can show you guys, but it's a glitter mess.
I kind of want to see your glitter mess.
I gotta figure out how to flip my screen here.
And our next 2 chapters will be 13 and 14, Castles in the Air and Secret. It's so pretty and sparkly.
This is 27 pairs of earrings, by the way.
I love it.
I haven't even gotten as far as I took apart, but I'm partially on the ear.
I have to figure out the getting it to actually cinch together properly, but
See that purple
Yeah.
X's? Those are the 2 lines I've done.
I love the stitches you did. They're so pretty.
and I have to take my dice out first. Sorry for any loud clattering. But I designed it to be able to open wide so that I can easily just have it sitting there with all the dice inside. So it's got like this starburst effect, like the whole thing's exploding.
I love it.
Because an explosion of dice is my dream. Just kidding, that would hurt.
Yeah.
And then I, finished tucking ends in on this, but it doesn't otherwise look any different than it already did.
Yeah,
right.
I've been glittering for 2 hours, so I'm ready to take a break from glitter. Just
You
a
go
little
take your break from glitter. I'm going to see if I can figure out a different way to cinch this closed so I can take it to show people at work tomorrow.
Yay!
And for now,